Good morning. Good morning. I'm just not going to set the drum.
Let's get started.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My friends. God's blessings upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good my friend. My friend. Sing Hosanna. Hosanna. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Allow in the sanctuary of our Lord's protection and the stronghold of the Lord's defense. With His love our spirits are illumined as we glorify His name, our hearts are blessed. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My friend. My friend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My friend. My friend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. And I see, again, how you doing, Andy? How you doing, Kevin? You guys doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah, we actually want answers. I mean, so I'm assuming we're not muted. I'm not seeing us, but okay, they're hearing us. I guess that's all that matters. Oh, there we are now. I'm looking at the clouds, wondering. Anyway, and we've got
Jeremiah who's in the clouds.
Okay, Jeremiah is in the clouds. And okay, I'm going to try this. I know this is someone who's been with us before. Sivanadian?
Yes, Jiva.
Oh, okay, just call you Siva?
I was with Mr. Lal program you used to come.
Oh, yes. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Now, where are you joining us from, Jiva?
I'm from Canada.
Where in Canada?
In London, Ontario.
Wow, I was almost your neighbor. I used to live in the province of Quebec.
Oh, wow.
I did not know that about you, Andy. No wonder he speaks.
This is why I speak French. I lived there for 19 years.
Oh, wow. That explains it. And Gilbert has just joined us. Good morning, Gilbert. And hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. It's good to see all of you. Something occurred to me. I ain't got my book. It's out here. No, I have the book. I just don't have it in my hand. Well, hang on one second. Full disclosure. Full disclosure. Now I recognize your face. Yes, Steve. How you doing?
Yes,
I'll admit, with all of the names from different cultures all over the world, when we joined in Mr. Lal's devotion, I'm like, okay, this is outside of my list of skills as far as being able to pronounce everyone's name. How you doing there?
I'm okay.
You good?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Just
No,
okay today.
Just okay. And how are you this morning, Nene?
Fine.
Nene is, she's doing lots of stuff, telling us you got to get moving, you got to get going, you got to get moving. So we're going to get moving. But Daryl has a little issue this morning. You want to, or am I not, should I not be putting your business all in the street like that?
Please no.
Okay, I won't.
You can start with a prayer though.
Okay, this is true. We do need to start with a prayer. I got to tell you, this book that I feel like I'm not. Am I close enough to the mic?
Yes.
Okay. This if I can't hear myself, I feel lonely. I think a good prayer would be a prayer of belief in God. And here it is. This is coming from Prayers and Meditations by Baha'u'llah. God testifieth to the unity of his Godhood and to the singleness of his own being. On the throne of eternity, from the inaccessible heights of his station, his tone proclaimeth that there is none other God but him. He himself, independently of all else, have ever been a witness unto his own oneness, the revealer of his own nature, the glorifier of his own essence. He verily is the all-powerful, the almighty, the viewless. He is supreme over his servants and standeth over his creatures. In his hand is the source of authority and truth. He maketh men alive by his signs and causeth them to die through his wrath. He shall not be asked of his doings, and his might is equal unto all things. He is the potent, the all-subduing. He holdeth within his grasp the empire of all things, and on his right hand is fixed the kingdom of his revelation. His power verily embraceth the whole of creation. Victory and overlordship are his. All might and dominion are his. All glory and greatness are his. He of a truth is the all-glorious, the most powerful, the unconditioned. And this is a prayer by Baha'u'llah. Good morning, Adam. Glad to see you. Now, as you know, we are continuing with the book that we've been using for weeks, Advent of Divine Justice by Shoghi Effendi. And we're starting today with Shoghi Effendi giving advice to, again, we're into that portion where Shoghi Effendi is talking about that the biggest problem that American Baha'is, and by association America itself, has is prejudice. Okay, and so for the last couple of weeks, we've been reading about that.
Right.
And he's actually, we're moving now into this point where he's telling the blacks and whites of America what they need to be doing. And it is as timely today as it was in 1938.
Definitely.
Yes. So Daryl, do you want to begin, or do you want me to? Yeah,
Please.
I think my font is larger than yours. Is it?
It's about the same, actually.
You think? I think
Yeah,
mine's
it's a little better space.
That's it. You're right. You're right. You think that would help him?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
So we're starting with a tremendous, I can read that.
Okay. You mean let the white make a supreme effort?
A tremendous effort is required.
Well, wait a minute.
Races.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Where are you? Okay. Okay. We will begin. Oh, you want me to start?
Please.
I thought you were gonna. We will begin. A tremendous effort is required by both races if their outlook, their manners, and conduct are to reflect in this darkened age the spirit and teachings of the faith of Baha'u'llah. Casting away once and for all the fallacious doctrine of racial superiority with all its attendant evils, confusion, and miseries, and welcoming and encouraging the intermixture of races, and tearing down the barriers that now divide them. They should each endeavor day and night to fulfill their particular responsibilities in the common task which so urgently faces them. Let them, while each is attempting to contribute its share to the solution of this perplexing problem, call to mind the warnings of Abdu'l-Baha and visualize, while there is yet time, the dire consequences that must follow if this challenging and unhappy situation that faces the entire American nation is not definitely remedied. He goes on. Let the white make a supreme effort in their resolve to contribute their share to the solution of this problem, to abandon once and for all this usually inherent and at times subconscious sense of superiority, to correct their tendency towards revealing a patronizing attitude towards the members of the other race, to persuade them through their intimate, spontaneous, and informal association with them of the genuineness of their friendship and the sincerity of their intentions, and to master their impatience, of any lack of responsiveness on the part of a people who have received for so long a period, such grievous and slow healing wounds. I just think that deserves a pause, because this is where he's telling, okay, you've got some things going on you might not know about if you're white in America. And he tells them, let the white make a supreme effort to contribute their share to the solution of the problem, to abandon once and for all their usually inherent and at times subconscious sense of superiority. He also points out that they need to correct their tendency towards revealing a patronizing attitude towards the members of the other race. And this is all necessary to persuade them through their intimate, spontaneous, and informal association. And, he's not saying just have meetings.
Right.
Informal. That too, their intimate, spontaneous, and informal association with them of the genuineness of their friendship and the sincerity of their intentions. But then he speaks to African Americans, or colored or Negroes, as they were called in that day, respectfully. Let the Negroes, through a corresponding effort on their part, show by every means in their power the warmth of their response, their readiness to forget the past, and their ability to wipe out every trace of suspicion that may still linger in their hearts and minds. Let neither think that the solution of so vast a problem is a matter that exclusively concerns the other. Let neither think that such a problem can either easily or immediately be resolved. Let neither think that they can wait confidently for the solution of this problem until the initiative has been taken and the favorable circumstances created by agencies that stand outside the orbit of their faith. Let neither think that anything short of genuine love, extreme patience, true humility, consummate tact, sound initiative, mature wisdom, and deliberate, persistent, and prayerful effort can succeed in blotting out the stain which this patent evil has left on the fair name of their common country. Daryl, now see, we're switching places. I was gonna say, this part where you should say,
Yeah.
tell me I want to stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you because what he is saying here is that it is not the solution to the problem is not one-sided. We can, and he's saying we can't wait for the other side to just say, okay, I'm in.
Mhm.
Okay, the solution has to come from both sides. Has to come from both sides. And until we recognize that, it's going to be difficult to make anything happen.
Exactly. I like the fact that I don't know, was there anything about this to make you feel maybe just a little uncomfortable at any time?
Well, the only thing that made me feel a little uncomfortable was where he says that the Negroes in there should have a readiness to forget the past, and that's the only part of this.
Yeah, it's
Because
difficult.
I think you have to indulge that. You have to really think about that portion of it because and that is a barrier.
Yes.
That's a barrier to creating a true solution.
Exactly.
So
But we also need to point out that he's referring to the past.
right,
We have to also acknowledge that there are some things in the present that need to be dealt with. And yet, we don't want to paint with too wide a brush.
that's right.
Because we can often do that,
Right.
and fall into stereotyping and so forth. But, this whole idea of, the whites having a sense of superiority that sometimes they're not even aware of,
Right.
that also needs to be sort of pointed out.
Subconscious.
Yeah. I just love Shoghi Effendi's, I don't know what the word is, just this level of insight that he has, that he can actually look and say, these are the things you need to do. It might not, in my words, might not be easy to hear. It's easy to point at the other side and say, you're the problem.
Right.
But he's saying both sides have to do some things. He's being quite a mediator here when you think about it.
That's
He
true.
really is. So it has left on the fair name of their, let's see. Let neither think that anything short of genuine love, extreme patience, true humility, consummate tact, sound initiative, mature wisdom, and deliberate, persistent, and prayerful effort can succeed in blotting out the stain which this patent evil has left on the fair name of their common country. Let them rather believe and be firmly convinced that on their mutual understanding, their amity and sustained cooperation must depend more than any other force or organization operating outside of the circle of their faith, the deflection of that dangerous course so greatly feared by Abdu'l-Baha, and the materialization of the hopes he cherished for their joint contribution to the fulfillment of that country's glorious destiny. Now, if you don't mind indulging me, this is one of those sentences that I like to kind of turn around because of the way it's stated. Anyway, I needed a little more clarity when I read the sentence. It's clear, but for me to wrap my brain around it, let them rather believe that, let's see.
On their mutual understanding, their amity.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but
Cooperation.
yeah, all of those things depend. Well, let me rephrase. The deflection of that dangerous course, so greatly feared by Abdu'l-Baha, and the materialization of the hopes he cherished for their joint contribution to the fulfillment of that country's glorious destiny must depend on their mutual understanding, their amity, and sustained cooperation. sustained cooperation. This is not a short-term thing.
Oh, no.
You got to be in it for the long haul, and the long haul is a very, very long haul.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
kind of like the difference between a process and a program.
Yes,
So program has a
Oh.
beginning and an end.
that is so
A
good.
process is ongoing.
Yes,
So
yes, excellent, excellent. Wow. And so he continues, dearly beloved friends. It's kind of taking us back a little bit.
Mhm.
Remember we talked about a rectitude of conduct?
Right.
Yes, he said, dearly beloved friends, a rectitude of conduct, which in all its manifestations offers a striking contrast to the deceitfulness and corruption that characterized the political life of the nation and of the parties and factions that compose it. Is this really 1938? Is this really from
It
1938?
definitely applies today as well.
I got to start. A rectitude of, dearly beloved friends, a rectitude of conduct which in all its manifestations offers a striking contrast to the deceitfulness and corruption that characterized the political life of the nation and of the parties and factions that compose it. A holiness and chastity that are diametrically opposed to the moral laxity and licentiousness which defile the character of a not inconsiderable portion of its citizens. Inconsiderable portion of its citizens.
Proportion, I would say.
Oh, that's right. Inconsiderable proportion of its citizens. I was so caught on the word I couldn't say it. Okay. An interracial fellowship, completely purged from the curse of racial prejudice, which stigmatizes the vast majority of its people. These are the weapons which the American believers can and must wield in their double crusade. First, to regenerate the inward life of their own community, and next, to assail the long-standing evils that have entrenched themselves in the life of their nation. The perfection of such weapons, the wise and effective utilization of every one of them, more than the furtherance of any particular. You read ahead, didn't you?
Mhm.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. The perfection of such weapons, the wise and effective utilization of every one of them, more than the furtherance of any particular plan, or the devising of any special scheme, or the accumulation of any amount of material resources, can prepare them for the time when the hand of destiny will have directed them to assist in creating and in bringing into operation that world order, which is now incubated within the worldwide administrative institutions of their faith. So Shoghi Effendi comes back to those things we read about a few weeks ago. A rectitude of conduct, holiness and chastity. And in this case, he adds interracial fellowship. Wow. To regenerate the inward life of their own community. You know, and as I was reading this before, this is one of those things that that again, when I think about this, the spiritual, I don't even want to say pursuits, emphasis that is placed on, let's say, spirituality. Again, so much of it in the past have been placed on you know, again, personal development, which is important.
Right.
You know, walking the path, which of course is important, but walking the path just for, you know, again, personal reward, I guess is the way of saying it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think I'm misspeaking?
No. It's
Where in this case, he's talking about for the purpose of regenerating the inward life of our communities and assailing the long-standing evils that have entrenched themselves in the life of their nation. This is how we reinvigorate, or at least get rid of this. I'm drawing a total blank here. Help me out, Daryl. Read my mind.
wall.
Say that again.
Wall.
Okay, this is how we get rid of it. Okay, those things that we were reading about, all those negatives.
Well, the other thing that stands out to me is that he specifically calls this an evil.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it is. It's
Yes.
an evil. And,
Yes.
and the whole idea that segregation and all of that is something that's natural is unnatural.
Absolutely.
It's unnatural and
Absolutely.
goes against all logic.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely. I'm sure you can read some. You don't have to, but. Oh, you're still waiting on me to go?
yes,
Okay. I do better without my glass. Would you do better without your glass?
no.
Okay. To continue. This is a crusade. Those are my words. I'm saying that because he refers to this effort as a crusade in the next sentence. In the conduct of this twofold crusade, the valiant warriors struggling in the name and for the cause of Baha'u'llah must, of necessity, oh wow, okay. He told us, I'm stopping in the middle of that sentence for a reason. He told us of the weapons for change were what? Rectitude of conduct, holiness and charity, interracial fellowship. Now he's going to tell us the things that we will be having to we will be having to overcome. Okay, what will be the obstacles? So here we go. In the conduct of this twofold crusade, the valiant warriors struggling in the name and for the cause of Baha'u'llah must of necessity encounter stiff resistance and suffer many a setback. This ain't gonna be easy. Must of necessity encounter stiff resistance and suffer many a setback. Their own instincts, no less than the fury of conservative forces. Wow. I'm sorry, Daryl. It'd be better if you could read it, because I still remember when I first read this, okay, I'm going to start the sentence again. Their own instincts, no less than the fury of conservative forces, the opposition of vested interests, and the objections of a corrupt and pleasure-seeking generation must be reckoned with, resolutely resisted, and completely overcome. Our own instincts, the fury of conservative forces, opposition of vested interests, and objections of a corrupt and pleasure-seeking society must be reckoned with, resolutely resisted, and completely overcome, as their defensive measures for the impending struggle are organized and extended. Storms of abuse and ridicule and campaigns of condemnation and misrepresentation may be unloosed against them. That's not happening, is it?
Of course it's
As their defensive measures for the impending struggle are organized and extended, there's going to be a lot of pushback, in other words, storms of abuse and ridicule, and campaigns of condemnation and misrepresentation may be unloosed against them. Their faith, they may soon find, has been assaulted, their motives misconstrued, their aims defamed, their aspirations derided, their institutions scorned, their influence belittled, their authority undermined, and their cause at times deserted by a few who will either be incapable of appreciating the nature of their ideals or unwilling to bear the brunt of the mounting criticisms which such a contest is sure to involve. Because of Abdu'l-Baha, he quotes he quotes Abdu'l-Baha, and part of that quote is, because of Abdu'l-Baha, the beloved master has prophesied, many a test will be visited upon you, troubles will befall you, and suffering afflict you.
And that says, basically, if you choose to go against what is considered the grain,
Yeah.
then you need to prepare yourself for the pushback
Yeah,
that is going to come from the rest of the society, or those individuals who do not believe that this is a worthwhile effort for the most part.
yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to have to overcome those obstacles to get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily where we want to be, but where we need to be. And that's the only solution for peace. So,
And that's what we're, in the long run, that's what we're talking about. You know,
okay, so time for some.
it looks like Gerald is putting away his book. O children of men, know ye not why we have created you all from the same dust, that no one should exalt himself or the other? Ponder at all times in your hearts how you were created. Since we have created you all from the same substance, it is incumbent on you to be even as one soul, to walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, and dwell in the same land. That from your inmost being, by your deeds and actions, the signs of oneness and the essence of detachment may be made manifest. We are one.
We are one
Family.
family,
One mankind.
one mankind,
One humanity.
one humanity.
Walk with the same feet. Eat with the same mouth. Dwell in the same land. That one indeed is a man who today dedicated himself to the service of the entire human race. The great being saith, blessed and happy is he that ariseth to promote the best interest of the peoples and kindreds of the earth. In another passage he hath proclaimed, it is not for him to pride himself who loveth his own country, but rather for him who loveth the whole world. The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens. We are one.
We are one
Family.
family,
One mankind.
one mankind,
One humanity.
one humanity.
Waves of one seed. Fruit of the same tree. Leaves of the same branch. If thou be of the inmates of this city within the ocean of divine unity, thou wilt view all the prophets and messengers of God as one soul and one body. in such wise that the first among them would be last, and the last would be first. For they have all arisen to proclaim his cause, and have established the laws of divine wisdom. They are one and all, the manifestations of his self, the repositories of his might, the treasuries of his revelation, the dawning places of his splendor, and the day springs of his light. We are one.
We are one
Family.
family,
One mankind.
one
One humanity.
one humanity,
One God. God of all. One faith. Faith in him. One race. All mankind. We are one.
we are one
Family.
family,
We are one.
we are one
Family.
family,
We are one.
we are one
Family.
family,
We are one.
we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one.
I like that song.
Me too.
And all the words in there, even those that I skipped a couple of phrases totally by accident, because those are some rather long passages, I know. But all those words are, not making them up. I mean, the singing parts, yeah, we kind of played around with, but the spoken parts, all straight from Baha'u'llah. Straight from Baha'u'llah. Yeah, and
Okay.
I just love those words. Let's do it again. Okay. I hate to say this, but I can't remember where we left off.
Let not, however.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start again with that quote from Abdul-Baha. Because of Abdul-Baha, the beloved master has prophesied, many a test will be visited upon you. Troubles will befall you, and suffering afflict you. Let not, however, the invincible army of Baha'u'llah, who in the West and at one of its potential storm centers is to fight, in his name and for his sake, one of its fiercest and most glorious battles, be afraid of any criticism that might be directed against you. Let it not be deterred by any condemnation with which the tongue of the slanderer may seek to debase its motives. Let it not recoil before the threatening advance of the forces of, let it not recoil before the threatening advance of the forces of fanaticism, of orthodoxy, of corruption, and of prejudice that may be leaked against it. The voice of criticism is a voice that indirectly reinforces the proclamation of his cause. This is where you say, hey, look, there's some good that comes out of these negatives. So he says, the voice of criticism is a voice that indirectly reinforces the proclamation of its cause. Unpopularity, but serves to throw into greater relief the contrast between it and its adversaries, while ostracism is itself the magnetic power that must eventually win over to its camp the most vociferous and inveterate amongst its foes. Already in the land where the greatest battles of the faith have been fought, and that's a reference to Iran. Already in the land where the greatest battles of the faith have been fought, and its most rapacious enemies have lived, the march of events, the slow yet steady infiltration of its ideals, and the fulfillment of its prophecies have resulted not only in disarming and in transforming the character of some of its most redoubtable enemies, but also in securing their firm and unreserved allegiance to its founders. So complete a transformation, so startling a reversal of attitude can only be effected if that chosen vehicle, which is designed to carry the message of Baha'u'llah to the hungry, the restless, and the unshepherded multitudes, is itself thoroughly cleansed from the defilements which it seeks to remove. You can't go in with the same dirt on you and expect to clean others. It is upon you, therefore, my best beloved friends, that I wish to impress not only the urgency and imperative necessity of your holy task, but also the limitless possibilities which it possesses of raising to such an exalted level not only the life and activities of your own community, but the motives and standards that govern the relationships existing among the people to which you belong. Undismayed by the formidable nature of this task, you will, I am confident, meet as befits you the challenge of these times. So fraught with peril, so full of corruption, and yet so pregnant with the promise of a future so bright that no previous age in the annals of mankind can rival its glory. So Shoghi Effendi says, yeah, there are tough times ahead. Hang in there because the reward is great.
That's right.
But as I'm reading this, I also the quote from Jesus that says, what is it? Is it? I know it's from the Bible. I think it's from Jesus. Physician, heal thyself.
Yeah.
If you want to go out there and and again work against the ills of society, you also need to be working within the ills. Within our own segments of society and indeed within our own self. Something I noticed in our Zoom?
What's that?
Anything with? It's all men.
What's that?
It's all men. We have no women joining us today.
I'm woman.
I'm saying that's right. Well, Nini, you're not in the Zoom. I just said in the Zoom. It's all men today.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting.
Okay.
Well, we do need to move on. And at this time, we always like to have our Kambiz moment. And anyone who else would like to share a prayer. And after Kambiz, of course, we'll have the lovely music also of Andy Murphy. So Kambiz, do you have something you'd like to share with us today?
Sure.
We're not hearing you, Kambiz. Uh-oh. And you're not muted, so I don't know why we're not hearing you. You had the same problem last
He
week.
hasn't started playing.
Oh, okay. But he usually says, shoot.
Where did he go?
And he left us. I'll tell you what, Andy, while Kambiz is dealing with his issues, could you share your
I can hear him.
Blessed is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God has been made, and his praise glorified. Thank you.
I actually heard him. Did you guys not hear him?
Maybe the problem is on our end.
Yeah.
I don't know why when we got to this last week, we had problems.
Yeah.
And now we're having problems again. Andy,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
we also can't hear you now.
Oh, no. I can hear you.
And you're not muted either. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully others can hear you. And so we'll just be quiet while you share your song.
Yes, we hear that.
Our speaker is dead. Thank you, Andy. Is there anyone else who would like to share a prayer or reading?
In to say a prayer, the which one we played in a guitar in Tamil language. கடவுளின் நாமமும் மொழியப்பட்டு அவரது புகழும் பாடப்படும் ஸ்தலமும் இல்லமும் இடமும் நகரமும் இதயமும் மலையும் புகலிடமும் குகையும் பள்ளத்தாக்கும் தேசமும் கடலும் தீவும் புல்வெளியும் ஆசிர் பெற்றதாகும். Thank you.
Thank you, Ziva. Thank you. Ziva. Ziva. Yes. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Okay.
Well then, friends, as usual, we always like to remind you that this is a community effort, a joint effort from various communities, and we come to you again through Zoom. If you're someone who sees this through Facebook and you'd like to be a part of the Zoom, you simply have to go to clearwaterbahais.org, clearwaterbahais.org. Click on the activities and events tab, and it will walk you through the rest of it. And of course, if you are someone who is who wants to learn more about the Baha'i faith, there are some definitive websites that. you
And those
can go to.
websites are www.baha'i.org, www.baha'is.us, www.bahaiteachings.org, and www.clearwaterbaha'is.org if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes. So, well, I guess we gotta hurry up and get moving here, but, I don't know what you all have planned for Labor Day, or if you have anything planned at all. I'm down here talking, I'm assuming they can hear me. But I'll bet there's something that Daryl feels you should do if you're out there.
Well, there is something that I feel you should do. The one thing that I know that, as I always say, that will enrich your life and the life of everyone around you is that if you take just 1 minute to share the love.
I prefer at least 2. Share the love, yes. O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth. Whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily has power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Whoa, watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surroundeth you. Let your vision be world embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be world embracing, and your vision be world embracing. Have a good week, folks.